Welcome in. We are back
Hello.
with a new episode today. Hello guys, how are you doing? My name is Chio and we have here go ahead guys.
Hey
I'm
guys, it's Divinely
Liza.
Diamond.
Sorry, we
Alright,
like typed on cards.
Yeah, okay. You know
alright,
who we is.
exactly. You know who we are. I am who I am that I am, okay?
Yes, that I am.
Alright.
I am.
So welcome in guys. We Before we go into anything guys, we're gonna talk about the obvious version out loud, right? Let's say the obvious version out loud. Everything that we all carry, or what, let's ask, let me put it this way. My dyslexia was kicking in. What does everybody or everyone already think when they hear these names? I'm going to present to you guys two names, and the version isn't exactly wrong. It may sound wrong, but it's doing a very specific job. And it's worth naming before we go past it, right? So we're gonna start off with. I want to start off with you, Diamond. What do you think, or what job does the hero who freed his people do for the people that are telling that version, or that are telling like, what does the hero who freed his people do for the people who tell his story?
For the people who would tell his story, I would say, like, take care of them, like, in a way of, I guess I kind of go back to Jesus on this. Like, if people are talking about how not to follow, I see that a lot come up where you're supposed to follow Jesus. We're supposed to follow. Um, Not necessarily. Um,
Let me use a
he wants
reference
us, he
from the
wants
Bible.
us, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But let's talk
No,
about
no, you're fine, you're
Moses.
fine.
Moses is a version that everybody already has, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So talk to me, like, what is he doing, or what is Moses who freed his people do for the people that are telling his story? Like, how is he being, what does he symbolize for for these people?
Like, he's like the poster child for the people.
And kind of reinventing and reknowing himself to get his actual identity to help his people that he didn't even know were his people.
So you guys know his story, right?
Hmm.
What was Moses in the Bible? He has a he pretty much has a staff. He parted seas. He has a stone tablets. And what is he
Hmm.
telling us? That oppressed people are brave leaders.
Hmm.
They have this
Hmm.
miracle in the end, and they have this happy forever after, right? The 40 years of wandering around and doubting most of his actions get skipped or compressed into something very like the typical love story, or the typical hero and villain story, right? What do you think that does for the people now, the people that get to tell his story? What is the weight
Mm.
behind it,
Well,
and how does it
first
shape
of
us?
all, yeah, definitely. With a certain religion, like it brought Passover. With leading all the Jews to freedom, and then also I think it just symbolizes that like we are able to we can have someone lead us out of that.
Hmm.
Okay. Do you guys think that it made us that it made us like suppressed, or that it made us thinking that somebody's gonna come and save us? Or how do you think that the
Mm,
whole phrase "let my people go," how are we using that today?
Hmm, that's interesting. Do you think are you asking like as a collective or?
As a collective, yeah, how is it seen in culture? How do we see it in, like, how is it presented to us? How does society use it? Or how does
Oh,
I feel like I'm picking your guys' brain, and I'm like making you guys think extra today, right? But how it shaped us,
you
pretty
know
much.
why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning about Moses as we're talking.
Uh-huh.
I feel like Moses is more like a prophet. Like he kind of like he serves as the mouthpiece for God, like through the 10 plagues of Egypt. Um, it's almost like he guided the Israelites out
Mm-hmm.
of the Egyptian bondage, and then like obviously we know about the Red Sea, how he parted it and the people could cross safely. So it's almost like in a way to me he serves as like a prophet. Um, and he met God face to face in a cloud and fire. That's what I read when there's something about like 10 commandments that I read. And he met God face to face in the covenants that formed the foundation of Jewish law. Um, but he was like interceding on the behalf, and when they it was like more of a fact of him being a prophet and him telling the people like what it is. But that's just like an idea. Like I want to know more about exactly what he is to and like what he represents in the Bible.
Right. So we don't end up seeing the fugitive, right? We don't
Yeah,
end up seeing
exactly.
the person that the person that was like, who was he before he became that, you know? We see a
Mm,
hero more than anything, but he was more of like the prince to nobody, right? He was raised in a palace, he killed a man, he fled the only life he ever knew, and then he disappeared into somebody else's desert, or someone else's desert, as a shepherd for
mhm.
40 years, right?
mm,
Yeah.
And what happened? The disappearance wasn't like a it wasn't like he just went away because he was ashamed. No, he left. That was like his whole, he had to be gone completely before anything else could show up in that place, right? And how does it shape
yeah.
us? Like we have the Exodus, you have like it's pretty much that it places decades between the flight from Egypt and the burden of or the burning bush, right? The long enough
Mhm.
to have Moses built this whole complete different life with the kid, and settled into being somebody with nothing left to claim, or nothing left from that old identity, right?
Yeah.
So now, how do you think that how do you think that society like incorporates that within us? Like how is it doing, how is it showing it to us, like in like how are
Um.
we accepting these, you know? Do you guys think that this shapes the version of like you saying people can't, or like the hero has to go through this hard time in order for him to become a true hero, you know? You must go
Yeah.
the distance.
Just like with I think this is a perfect example of the ego death because he had to go through this long trial in order to get there. But even when he got there, he still was resisting. Like it was notated that he did originally reject Jesus's like when he ordered him to go tell Egypt like to let them free. At first, he did reject it a couple times before actually going. Even though during this whole like transition, he was altering himself and getting to know his actual like identity versus the one that was just given to him, or he grew up
Hmm.
believing it was his.
Right.
So would you say that Moses is depicting the ego death?
100%. I think, in my opinion,
Okay.
That's acceptable, and like your view. And I'm sure that it also, and it's valid because there's no right or wrong, truthfully. That's gonna be based
Yep.
on your experiences. And
mhm,
I can see where it's coming from. What about you, Simon?
For me, I think, you know, the ego death thing kind of, I've noticed like even with in my own journeys, I've kind of found that there's always something that's going to be awakened. There's always something that's humbling me. I'm not going to know all the answers, not trying to, but you know what I mean? Like it humbles me every time, and it shows me something that I need to work on within, or sometimes I'm even enlightened on the things that I have to do, you know, to serve as a vessel in this world. Because when I made a promise to Jesus, like, I had this little awakening in 2024, and it was an awakening specifically with him. That's when I really connected with Christ consciousness. And that was the day, it was like February 16th. I remember the day. In my car, when I was breaking down, and I said, I give you my vessel. Fuck it. Like, I give you my vessel. Please come into me. Serve into like whatever downloads you want me to have, whatever ways you want to work through me, I'm giving you my vessel to do. I want to be of service. And I want you to operate that shit.
I love
So
that.
it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like I had to, in a way, surrender. How to surrender, because for me to do this work, I have to operate, in my opinion, I have to operate through Christ consciousness, the best of my ability. And that's when I invited him to be in my vessel, and then we can do this shit together. But that's what I kind of considered like an ego death, but you're moving within certain perimeter. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're having that ego death, but you have someone to kind of guide you through it. There's like
Right.
all these gods that we can kind of turn to, and Jesus is actually one of them. Christ consciousness is actually one of them. And I think it's important to have some sort of master, some type of God that can help you kind of guide your way while you're being led. You know what I mean?
That higher yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So so now let me ask you again, what do you think is the job of the person, or what was your job to do as the person who freed her people? What do you do for the people that tell your version?
Like if people were going around like saying the things that I'm saying, like
What
I
do you
woke
think you
people up
No, no,
basically.
no. What do you think you're doing for your people? For the people
I
that
think
you find yourself, you find resemblance in yourself, or you find some sort of familiarity with.
I feel like I'm giving them like somewhere to like speak, somewhere to have some type of like common ground,
Mhm.
almost like we see eye to eye. So they're gonna feel like, okay, like I don't know if it's necessarily gonna call me a god or something, but like, I mean, they'll look at it like, okay, this is real. This is something that someone else is experiencing and I'm experiencing as well. And we're taking in things together.
Okay. What about you, Liza?
um, I would say that they would. I think it's a perfect example of like how someone's stubbornness and also fear can eventually overcome and be like, okay, like, this path has already opened for me. Like, I need to embrace like the ego death and like any other like death that correlates with it, even habits. Um, I think it's showing them a realistic transition that social media and like other people want say that it's beautiful and you're right away a different person, like if it happens overnight.
Yeah.
So I think it's like I'm showing them the more the more raw, but also that change is possible.
Yeah,
Right.
100%. Mhm.
So it's easier to retell or teach something behind, like, and rally behind something, right? Than
Mm-hmm.
to tell a story about identity dissolving into formlessness, right? Which is
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the
Yeah.
hero version that we have, right? The hero that overcomes his obstacles. But it becomes an issue when it's treated as the story of everybody else instead of the entry point to a harder story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because what did you have to open? What kind of worms did you have to open in order to become that?
See,
So
and I
here's
feel
this,
like everyone has a different journey. Like they just
Yeah.
go through different things, but it's the same language.
because it hurts the same regardless of the situation, right?
Yeah.
There is no my situation is greater than yours. There's no levels of importance. They're equally important.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this. Have you guys heard of the narco saint, Santa Muerte? What
I only
does
heard of it from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me too.
I love it because this is my special my I am a
I'm
Santa
here to be
Muerte
educated.
aficionado.
Yes.
Eh.
Yes.
Woo!
So
No,
if I sound stupid today, guys, it's not that. It's just I'm
you
learning
don't
with
ever
y'all.
feel
Yeah.
stupid. You cannot feel stupid. Don't even, hey guys, remember, words are spells, and I
Hey,
love
true.
that you said that so we can set an example. Whenever you speak ill of yourself, people will believe that. So, you're awesome, right?
Yeah.
You just are unaware of her role at this moment.
Right. Right.
Awesome.
And I can take accountability for this. A lot
Exactly.
of people, a lot of people, they try to act like they know things. We were just talking about this earlier, how they act like they know things, but really, I mean, there's no dumb question, there's no dumb anything. But when we were talking about bringing somebody on, that was the thing. Like, there's no, we don't want anyone to come on the show feeling like we're picking your brain and that you feel smaller than others or that your opinion is like less or it's any nothing. There's no right or wrong answer into this. It's just
Mm-hmm.
having a space
It's like
to
how it
have
happened for
people
you.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah, have people
Yeah.
share, have a safe space to communicate,
Hmm.
and there's no judgment. And that's all we're really trying to do because we had someone want to come in, but we were a little afraid of certain things.
Yes.
And this specific person has like a different mindset. So it was a lot of should we not? But we were at the end of it, we were like, we should because we're here to invite everybody with all mentalities, regardless, because how they can ruffle somebody's feathers and stuff. But that's what this space is for, just to be heard and no judgment.
Exactly. How could we be
Yeah.
saying that we accept everyone with with our differences and our different mindsets if we pick and choose what's easiest for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Practice what you preach. I love it.
Mm.
Well, guys,
Yeah.
Santa Muerte is actually very interesting, guys, because before I even knew about Santa Muerte, let me tell you guys, I call her the narco saint because I only saw dangerous people pray to her, and I thought she was what we don't know, we fear, right?
Yeah.
So I thought she was the devil's work. But no, guys, this goes back to our roots. If you're Hispanic, and doesn't matter what type of Mexican you are, but you have the Aztec, Mayan bloodline, go back into your traditions. I learned that she looks like Virgen de Guadalupe because when the colonization happened, That was the only way that we could keep this saint alive, or part of our traditions, right? And she's literally that. She is the saint of death, right? She comes many times in her lifetime, and not just for the physical life, but for the versions that you're shedding off, right? Because there's rarely this like third option, which is like closest thing, right, to the truth, which is, and it's gonna happen unfortunately to mostly female, mostly poor devotional practice functioning the way that channels don't really claim, or official places don't claim, right? Because everything is done in secrecy, right? So she is pretty much here to sit with you because she is facing all of your shame with you in that darkness where you feel like you're not going to survive this one. We've all felt that physical pain of the heartbreak, especially if you have borderline personality disorder or any type of neurodivergence. You feel the physical pain and you feel like you can't survive it. And the next thing you know, you overcome it and you're like laughing at that version. Or sometimes you realize, dang, I had to cut something off. She's pretty much teaching us to harvest, like how to garden. We cut off the old weeds in order to let new plant new seeds and allow them to grow, right? Both.
Sounds like a guide.
Exactly. And you guys, she's probably one of like she's the she's the ego of death, or the death of ego is when you accept that you were wrong. In my eyes, in my experience, I had to accept that I didn't know everything.
Hmm.
That the times that I fell on my face was because I made the same decisions over and over again. Once I accepted that, nobody can hold it against me because now I'm making different decisions.
Right, right.
So
You can't tell me things that I don't already know about myself, or that I haven't sat with
exactly.
myself to like face. So I've already faced it. And I seen the meme that said that. So that would remind me of.
Yeah, it's like I like to tell people that come in when I'm doing a live or something, that they come and attack me and it's like, "Ooh, we are playing the name calling game because I can probably win. I've called myself worse." What do you think, Liza?
Honestly, I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of listening. I don't know much about like,
But as you're hearing this, what's your perspective? How do you view her? Or what is your idea before this?
my idea before this, I thought, honestly, I thought she was more like an urban legend, um, than you know what I mean, than someone that people praised. I thought she was more like an urban legend. I'm not sure what came to that
Hmm.
conclusion, but
Yeah.
like around me, I've never heard anyone talk about it either. So that's probably why.
Hmm.
And now that you're hearing about her, what do you see her, or what are your thoughts on her?
Hmm. Huh. I think that I need to be like, I still need to be educated more because I don't know how to explain it.
Like as you were talking about her, I was thinking about Jesus again. Like I
We
kind
need
of feel
Jesus
like
in
she
our life.
represents. I was like, okay, well, she sounds like a guide to me. Like she sounds like someone who guides you, like like how we have our spirit team guides, ancestors and whoever. Like she's considered somebody like that. Um, but like you said, like I thought it was an urban legend as well. That people were talking about how she's like, what's the name, like Lorena or something
Yeah.
like that, but like a
Yeah.
different version. Like
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
angelic version or something. I don't know, but that she gives me like guide vibes.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, like death ain't like okay. I think it's because of the name and the way like, you know how like society's like, oh, this looks like scary, so like, oh, this equals scary. That's kind of
Right.
what I thought. That's why I thought she was an urban legend. Like, it's
Right.
so ignorant, but I'm glad I'm like learning about her.
We're learning. We're learning.
Right. And it's crazy because most of the time, guys, when we hear ego death or the death of ego, it's split almost into like something that you talk about as a milestone or something that is treated as a, oh, you went to the seminar and now you feel better. No, it's nothing wrong
Mm.
with that. Like in a clinical or mainstream space, guys, like a red flag is the language that is lumped into or in with psychosis or crisis, and it's treated as something to medicate rather than
Right.
move through, right? We want to suppress the emotion. But guys,
Yeah.
online, and it's mostly a meme, ego death is usually used as a punchline about a rough night or detached from a weight of something that is, it's like detached from the clinical side of it, right? The ego death is when you get told your truth, right?
Yes, exactly. When you face it, not only just um hear it and like look at it, but you genuinely go through it.
Exactly. So think about it. If you put both side by side, right? We have, let's say, for example, we have this narco saint, right? What is she actually trying to make you or let you avoid actually looking at? If you have, or what is like the two of them have in common? Let's put that into place. Because no matter how you look at it, you have this one harmless person, right? He's the epic hero. He's the wellness milestone. He's inspiring. He's safe to be, right? He's the hero that overcame the obstacle. And then you have this narco association, this red flag, this frightening thing, this urban legend, right? They're both doing the identical job from different directions. They both let the collective know that there's something real with that actually being changed in the way you look at it. It may not look like the thing that you're wanting to see, but you know what? It's the truth. And how does it shape us? Whatever perception, whatever perception um requires the person to see, or something that is the fear of that person, because everybody has different fears, right? It's going
Hmm.
to favor that whole entity, but it's the actual middle that is slow, and it doesn't really travel because no matter what angle you see it, it comes to the same conclusion. So what do both of them have in common with all three? With the death of ego, with like with the person that you are remembering to be, with the spiritual side or the religious side of it.
Making you more aware, as more aware of what you are.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't ask me. I'm asking you, like, how do you feel about that?
I feel like that's what it is. I feel like it's not to bring it politically, but it's almost like you have your Republican and your Democrat, but they're like operating from the same plane.
Yes, I
They
agree.
have, you know what I'm saying? That's what it made me think of. Like you got Republicans and Democrats. They have like they're trying to make it seem like they're on opposite ends of the spectrum or whatever, but they operate from the same plane.
Right.
What they all have one in common is to get rich off the people. It's just, they have different ways of doing it. Republicans are more cutthroat. Democrats are trying to be more about the people. But when it comes down to it, one common denominator that they have is that they are trying to make money off of people. They're just doing it in different ways.
Right. So think
You're
about it.
you're achieving the same goal, but in different ways, different languages and shit.
So if there's nothing that is built to name that middle space, what does it take you to actually hold it and say, no, but this is where I'm at? If you don't have a category to fit in, you don't have this third bin, right? You're the third bin.
Mhm.
You're the different kind of space entirely. So what does it take in order for you to claim it? Is it the commitment to stay in that room after both Moses and Santa Muerte, or your ego is gone?
Mm. You definitely need to not stay in whatever mindset. I would say, damn, you're like hitting them.
I'm saying like, no, no, no,
No,
that's not like a wrong answer. Like I'm saying you're the in
we're
between
speechless.
where you're able to hold the balance of both, right?
Yep. Yep.
So what commitment, you're the commitment that is staying in that room. After those versions that are easy to adapt to because that's what we were taught to adapt to. And that's
Hmm.
where we're coming from, right? Our name isn't really a tagline. It's the bush, the burning bush. It's the when somebody asks you and says, "Who are you?" or "What's your name?" and that's when you answer, "I am that I am," right? You're not a
Right.
hero's
I see
name.
what you're
You're not
saying.
saying, "I'm Cardi B," even though I wish. No, I'm kidding. You're not you're not somebody that is pretending to be anything. You are who you are, right? And that's the middle
Right.
ground across all three of them, around Moses, Santa Muerte, or the ego death. It's not dangerous. It's just
Mm.
I am this, I am that I am.
That's
Or
the
I
common
am
denominator.
exactly, I am blank, and that stays open instead of trying to resolve it into a warning or into a mascot. And that's what this show is built for, to hold on
Gotcha.
to that blank open, not to fill it in for anybody, not to sell what goes into it, just to be a room to be allowed to be whatever unresolved long enough version of you have that actually means something for you. Am I right?
Yep.
Hmm.
No, I'm gonna ask you a last question because I feel like I'm teaching you guys. I love this.
You are.
Yes, you are.
Oh my god, I feel flattered. No, I love it because you know what? I learn from you guys as much as you guys learn from me, and that's how it should be. A conversation should go three ways, right? It's either to learn
Yeah.
something about yourself, about myself, or about a situation. So notice that without naming it fully, both of them get sorted into both bins.
I
Yep.
see what you
This we have the same bin, we have a third one added, and then the part that is pretty much the third one, that's what's missing, or that's where the sorting is happening, right? That's what's missing from all three. You're the thing that's missing from all three. So we're going to go into this a little bit more. We're just going to take a quick break. And actually, no, guys, I'm going to keep going with this because this is actually pretty good. I'm not, forget the
Just go with
break,
it.
you know? We're going to go into this because I said so. Let me ask you this, guys. Now that we determined this, we have Moses and Santa Muerte. They're pretty much a collective that reads that we let the shape of a pattern open to be anything, right? Which is the ego of death. It names the pattern in full and it says what the room leaves, what each bin leaves open, or what it leaves room for, and then what the truth is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and there's no right or
Mhm.
wrong answer, right? You guys are like, I don't know, is there?
Well,
I
depends.
hear you. I'm doing. Sorry, like in and out real quick. I hear you though.
So, what does the same experience get called, or why does it get called a breakthrough breakthrough by a crowd and then it's considered a breakdown or your crash out by another one? Why does it get split into two different categories, guys, if it's the same thing that the same conclusion that we came into, right?
It depends on like context. Like for example, that's the thing. It's like there's so many variables because it's like each person, like how we talked about the other day, how um like past people can be like, oh, I have a mixture of like people will be like, oh my god, she's really sweet and this and that, and then on the other side being like she is literally a demon spawn, you know.
Wow.
So
Right.
it depends on person as well.
Everyone's
And
gonna
there's
have
no
their
right
own
or wrong.
perspective.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I said that everyone has their own perspective.
Hmm.
Right. Exactly. Everybody has their own perspective, and it's okay. There's no right or wrong answer, right?
Mhm.
So now let's dive a little bit deeper into this, guys. If there's two things that are considered the same thing, right? You guys got me on that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if you
Yeah.
guys are paying attention.
I am.
You're like, I'm here.
Hmm.
So let's say you have, or what is actually, what does it feel, or what does losing a fixed sense of your self-register, what does it do? Like, how is it perceived, or how do you guys experience it instead of an insight, instead of something peaceful, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys feel
Elaborate
like,
more.
well, the ego of death, it's sold to you as this moment of you accepting your higher purpose, but nobody
Hmm.
tells you you have to accept your flaws as well and the mistakes that you made, because you only reacted based on what you already or what you knew at that time. So you can't feel
Mhm.
ashamed of what you didn't know then, right?
I
Right.
mean,
Is it,
yeah.
how do you guys think it is? What's the reality of it?
I think you still can feel shame for things that you didn't feel shame at the moment, especially when it comes to like, because during your ego death, it's like you're not just opening your mind to like, to like different perspectives and also like things that you might have not felt guilty about in the past, you feel guilty about now.
So it's not going to be pretty, right? It's not going to be like a beautiful
No, not at
scenery.
all.
What's the
Right.
reality of it? How did you like, and I don't want to know any situations, but because in
Hmm.
me it was like the ugly cry with the boogers all over the place, you
Mm.
know. It's the hiccup cry that shows up, like you don't even know where
Yes,
it's coming from, and then you're like but it was such a good
Yes.
cry, you know.
especially that one.
Exactly. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, but your mind
Um,
keeps finding or looking for a reason, because it's trying to dissolve, because the dissolving thing, it's trying to solve a problem rather than to take it apart, because you're used to solving problems, you're not used to experiencing them and allowing them to just be. And I'm not just saying, like, I'm not saying this is what it is, I'm saying in my perspective, that's how I experienced it. How do you guys feel about that? What is your perspective, or how did you experience it?
um, honestly, it was
The
very
ego
like,
death.
it was very like, it like I was mourning someone, but it was just like, and then, like I said in the other episode, it was mourning someone, mourning bad habits that I didn't even like, because you're basically saying goodbye, and it's like in a weird way, your mind knows better. You know, your mind is more intact with every single sense of your body. I feel like even your desires, even your, you know, so it's just like a different pull, and you're like, oh my God, like I'm not the same person. Everyone's, as much
Hmm.
as they don't want to admit it, is scared of change, whether it be positive or negative.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. What about you, Vanessa? I mean, Jenna.
I, well, I think with ego death, it's like they're like awakenings. Like there's always an ego death that you go through. But like when I went through my first one, I it was almost like the spiritual awakening took over again. Like I had to let people know, like, oh my God, like this made me feel great when I acknowledged this, or when I took practice into this. Let me go tell somebody about it so that they don't have to go through it, or this can help them get out of whatever situation that they're in. And when I realized it's the same thing, like I'm still talking to people with the same mindsets. I'm like, they're not going to take in the information the way I'm going to take it, because now I'm seeing through a different lens, a different mindset. And it's something that operates off a higher frequency versus what they're operating off of. If you're operating on two different frequencies, you're obviously not going to grasp the concept. So for me, it literally took a lot of like self reflection. Yes, I had that ugly cry as well. I've come to so many conclusions about myself. And humbling is something that people like Liza said, that's no one wants to admit when they're wrong. They feel embarrassed when they do get humbled. So having somebody kind of point out your reflection or your flaws, it's almost like they're going to feel attacked right off the rip. They're going to feel attacked, and they're going to shut down whatever you're going to say after that. Like it's just a complete waste of time at that point. So so I had to learn that like people are not going to, sometimes they're not going to wake up in this lifetime. You're going to have the ones who get it, who understand what's going on, and then you're going to have to deal with the fact that even family members or friends, like people in your life, not everyone is a meant they're not meant to awaken in this lifetime, which you have to
Mm,
accept. That's on them though. They're the ones that have to come back down here and face whatever they need to do all over again. But as long as we understand, I mean, we're ascending as we go, we can't feel guilty if people aren't ascending at the same time as we are, especially because people have, different journeys. They have different timelines of when their awakenings are going to happen, or if they do have an ego death, when that's going to happen. It's not going to happen the same time you're having it. So we also have to be like aware of that as well. Like we're not always going to awaken those who, like we're not always going to awaken people the way we want to.
Right.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
sometimes it happens to people like after a bad experience, you know? And like you said, it takes multiple people, or multiple
Yeah.
times, I'm sorry. Or even, yeah, multiple people to like help you realize that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the accept or the realization that you really can't. It's like when you're doing when you're trying to help somebody, but you can't help somebody by telling them what to do. You can only help them by being there, because a baby is not going to listen to you. They're going to fall on their
Yeah.
face, and once they hurt themselves and they start crying, then they're going to listen, right?
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
accepting that everybody has their own journey, right?
Sometimes it takes a person to go through rock bottom. Like you can tell somebody shit till you're blue in the face, and they're not going to get it unless they hit rock bottom themselves. It almost reminds me of someone I know, who I used to be very, very close with. And when we first met, we both were on the same like frequency like 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And since I've grown, this person has not. And it's sad to see. Um, but I have tried many times to like tell her how to do certain things, or she always comes to me. I'm always the one that she goes to for advice, but she doesn't take it. Um, so it took for me to realize that, oh my God, like what if she doesn't get it? I was worrying about how God was handling her. Like God, how, so there was a time where I would kind of like bring it up to my mom, or like, how come she, things come to her so easily. And for me, I have to work for it. Or God always puts me through like all the ringer shit just for me to get like that one thing. But how come things come to her so naturally, so easily, and it just gets handed to her, and she's not a great person? Like she's legitimately not a great person. And sometimes we have to realize, well, first, we can't be questioning what God does for others, but sometimes God holds certain people to a higher standard, and maybe He holds me at a higher standard, and He's like, you got something different than her. So when it comes to getting things or like doing things, I want you to do it a certain way because it's going to build your character, or it's going to do something that's going to be in higher favor for you later. She's getting it easy because she's not learning. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's got to learn a different way
Or
than
she has
you.
something
So
else
don't,
to learn.
yeah, don't, no, no, don't judge like how people are getting their lessons handed to them and how they're learning it. You know what I'm saying? That's what really, that was another thing that had me humble. Like, oh, you're right. Well, then sit the fuck down. But that's just what it is. And I've learned that she may not be, she may not be that person that will wake up in this lifetime, or it may take her a lot of times or a lot of things to go through for her to finally get it. But it's just a prime example, like you want to help somebody so bad because you care, but they have to go through their own shit, their own lessons, and learn them their own way.
Exactly.
I love that you said that because this kind of goes into my next question. Like, if you're reading this as her situation as mortal danger, or her being in grave danger, are you in the wrong for feeling that way, right? Because you're sensing
Mm-hmm.
and you accepting that it pretty much you're detecting the threat, but you're not like the real danger and doesn't have to separate from your sense of self is dissolving, and it's fine for her to go through that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It uses the same type of reading for both. You read anxiety as intuition.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean that's my perspective as to what you said. And
yeah.
yourself, or it's not something that it's wrong with you, it's just that you're dissolving, or that version of you that needs to dissolve that miscommunication between your body and your intuition, between the physical form and the higher self, because God can be anything. God can be a source, God can be the universe, anything, right? Whatever
Mm-hmm.
higher self we have a vision of, even it can even be science, quantum theory, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to call it. But and you accepting that people have their own obstacles in life and you have yours, and to focus on yours and to be there when you recognize yourself, but to not overstep. It's like just letting God handle and just going with the flow. You are water, or you are like water. You're not rigid, right? You adapt.
Right.
And your fear,
Water's so healing.
Yes.
exact and your fear is accurate about how grave this is, and the small threats are measuring as this greatness as well, you know? So it's
Mm-hmm.
the it's the separation of both, right? So if your body is reading this as a danger, is it actually wrong for you to feel this way? I believe it's not, but like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on
I
how
agree.
you decide to take it. because it's your choice.
Yeah.
It's your life. You're the one that goes with the consequences. And I'm still gonna love you the same, but
Mm-hmm.
depending on the energy that you decide to partake in, I can love you from a distance or I can love you as my neighbor, you know?
Exactly.
And you know what? That's good that you said that because when we try to get people to understand and they don't, what's next?
Exactly.
What do we do with that person? Do we continue having them in our life? Do we love them from a distance? Do we cut them off? What is the key thing to do if they're still standing on the other side of the fence?
And that's my where my next question is. What does it take or what would it take for something to sit next to the same thing that is scary or to that terror without needing it to be peaceful first?
Hmm. Liza, what you think?
Like you're asking what should be before the peace comes, like what is there?
Like what is it like what is the s- like what is the one thing that happens before the stability? And why is
Oh,
it the and that's like why is it only available for or why is it okay to sit next to it without it being chaos still?
I mean, it's one thing. Okay, so before the peace, I would say we have that whole like tornado of like one event after happening another. Kind of to help with this progress of like understanding ourselves, understanding how to handle it, and then also like testing us, like testing us before giving us that peace. But like if you think about it, once we learn all this stuff, it's ourselves who give us that peace. So I think that's what
Mm,
it is, because eventually it never goes away. Like the problems still come. That's why we're able to sit with it instead of being sucked into it like in the past.
yeah. Got to learn how to coexist.
Hmm.
And
That was
it's
something that I learned even like while I was going, well, I was looking up stuff on ego death when I first started like realizing I was going through them. That was something that I learned too was just that like the ego. Oh my God, it literally slipped out of my head. But whatever Liza was just saying, the ego, it basically like you have to coexist with it. That's what I was gonna say. Um, when we were really taught to not get along with it. If anything, what I
Yeah.
was getting out of it was, oh, you need to get rid of this fool. Like you can't like this is the negative part of you. Like this is the dark part of you that you don't want to listen to. They all these negatives about the ego. But then I started realizing that you should more than likely coexist because your ego is a part of you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think your ego goes with you conscious. I don't know, Chio, if you can correct me with that. But doesn't the ego go with you conscious wise?
in my experience,
Is
it
the
does.
ego a part of your consciousness?
Yeah, because we tend to point fingers whenever you before well, at least in my experience, I was always blaming everybody for my downfalls. And then I realized, wait a minute, I had
Hmm.
to accept, hey kid, come on man, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves, girlfriend. Nobody told you to pick that. Actually, people were telling you not to do that, but then you refused to listen, so then here we are, right?
Hmm.
So for me, it was the acceptance that I had that I didn't know everything and that I that I had to that I was going to be wrong, you know? That I
Yep.
was going to be wrong, that I had to accept that I made a mistake. I had to accept that I didn't know everything. I had to accept that it wasn't me coming with my tail between my legs, you know, it was actually me owning up to my mistakes and saying, "Okay, I don't want to do this again. How can I change my outcome? What other choices
Right.
do I have?"
Hmm.
you know? So for me, it was my ego of thinking that I was always right and then I knew what I was doing, but in reality, I didn't know crap. I was
Mm-hmm.
just avoiding everything. And in avoidance, I submerged in work, I submerged in everything else, but the actual problem.
Mm.
So think about it. What does it mean? This happened to me until the age of 33. What does it mean that people sometimes need an entire 40 years or maybe 40 days or maybe they need maybe we find a kid at 15 or 19 that has already understood this,
Right. Kids are even younger.
Yes.
right? And it doesn't make it wrong. It's
No,
actually
just like you wouldn't make it wrong if it was like a 50-year-old person as well.
Yeah.
it's it's the result of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's the actual timeline of what is of the result of everybody else before this that or everybody's of a group of people, the collective that stopped reaching or finding something else to solve their issues and owning up to them, right?
Yeah.
Nobody gets skipped, but everybody, right? Everybody gets to do takes part of this, right? Everybody has to put on their big pants in some situation, regardless of what it is, regardless of how big or small you think it is, because you don't walk those shoes. You don't know how big that situation is in that person's life.
Mm.
Let's take it like this, right? In the wilderness, right? The narrative is that the wilderness narrative is that people want to go back repeatedly, right? They
Yeah.
fear the new areas, they fear the unknown, and the unknown outweighs the memory of what you already knows. I mean, I'm sorry, the unknown, the formless unknown is very scary, so the memory, right, is easier to pick. But that open door is the formless unknown that truly outweighs that memory.
Mm.
Now, it's not going to take you a weekend retreat to fix that. It's actually going to be whatever years it takes, whether it's 40 years, a whole lifetime, maybe 3 or 4, but it's going to take as
Mm.
long as it takes in order for you to learn your lessons and embrace your downfalls and say, man, had I not got through that, I wouldn't be here today. It's finding the positive in our negative situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what happens when all these dark moments become the reason why? Let's say, for example, you have this, most of us, and I started like hearing about Santa Muerte, it was like a trend type of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Right. But people who truly know her, they know that it's not a trend, that it's something like, especially if you make an offering. But she comes to you and not just for, she doesn't pick the time. You don't pick up the time, I'm sorry. You just receive her and you welcome her because she's going to be here with you, sitting through all those dark moments and of your self doubt. And she's going to allow you to feel those moments. And then she's going to tell you, okay, so what are we doing about this? Are we going to stay here? Are we going to keep making the same mistakes? Are we going to try to grow something with these dead weeds? Or are we going to cut these out and do the reality of the work, right? It's probably going to make you get some blisters in your hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? but it becomes
Yeah.
Hmm.
all that hard work, all those blisters are the reason you're like, when you see what you created, when you see the harvest, when you see the plants, the tomatoes, whatever it is that you grew, it becomes like that's like whenever you show people the plants that you grew, you tell them, "Oh man, and I had these sick ass blisters." It becomes the it becomes the inspiration, right?
Right. Your wounds.
Yeah, it's your credentials.
Mhm.
So think about it. What happens to a dark night the moment it becomes content?
Dark Night of the Soul.
There's really there's really anywhere that frightened passages or anything gets flattened into something inspirational, guys, like a quote or like a little Hallmark. I'm sorry, not Hallmark. Like a little greeting card. It gets turned into a folk saint or into a merchandise, right?
Mm.
And the part that actually costs, the part that the Dark Knight, that's like the only part that unless you've walked it, you can truly say, I've been there, I've done that, and you know what? I can't even have negative feelings to somebody that has harmed me because it's such a tough situation or tough time that I know how I wish somebody would have been there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That was my view on it. I'm not trying to make you guys believe this. I know I was like really into this, but I don't know. I just get really into this
No.
because it's like I am really proud of the way that I think now. And I don't mean this in a self, like, I'm trying to toot my own horn here, but just even seeing you guys and, you know, once again, Diamond seeing her as like somebody that was unreachable, and then Liza being one of my first viewers, and that is now somebody that has grown so much in just like 6 months. It's like it's mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. We was
Yeah.
talking
Thank
about how
you.
like we all connected in some way, but we connected in certain like time frames that just made sense.
Yeah,
It just made sense. And we all had like different type of backgrounds, but we seem like we have the same perspectives.
the same pain in different situations, right?
Yeah.
And even Linda, that she's not here today. Um, I mean, there's
Sad.
many times where you guys talk about something, and if she hears about it or if she hears me talking on the phone with you guys, she'll be like, "Oh, I know the answer to this."
See?
So it's like sometimes it's just being in alignment, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel. No, I'm kidding. Just let Jesus take the wheel, because what is meant for you will always be. And sometimes the times that you fall on your face and you bust your lip, it was meant to be so that you don't make the same mistakes or you don't make the same choices in different people and continue living in the same loop.
Yeah. It's how the universe works. It's like you asking for something and then you're like, oh, like, okay, like you're asking the universe for this one thing and the universe sends you tests to see how like you can handle it. You keep having to like go through so many things and finally like you can handle it. But it's the moments when like you feel like they're unbearable
Mhm.
It's like the moments where you're like, oh my God, like I asked for this and you're making me go through this. Like the complete
Mhm.
opposite. But it's supposed to help train you. It's supposed to help prepare you. It's supposed to help you manage. Like we ask for things, we want things, but we don't ever ask for the ability to maintain that. Once we're aligned with that certain thing, like, well, how are we going to maintain it? You have it in front of you. What are you going to do now? So it's
Exactly.
about also understanding how to maintain that going
It's
forward. Like you said, learn from your problems and mistakes so you don't go through them again.
right. It's not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, right? It's a constant uh journey that you're gonna, it's a daily, like once you take the responsibility of your self acknowledgement, it's something that you do daily. And
Hmm.
think about it, guys. If you're the empath, you're the person that is always trying to stabilize the room, you're the person that is always trying to make sure that everybody else is okay, then who else but you to go through this?
Right. Why not
Exactly.
you? Everyone's like, oh, why me? But why not you? Why not?
It's
Mm.
because you're the one, you've made it this far. Look back at all your
Right.
mistakes. Look back at all the times that you thought you weren't going to wake up the next morning. I know I had many of those.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
And here we are talking about topics that you and I never even thought about mentioning to the public.
Yep.
Right.
And that, guys,